the seat, and then I'm gonna have to adjust this because you're a different height than myself.
Right, I got you. Good right here.
Yeah, that's good. Everybody can hear Brandon okay? Is that right? You guys can hear him?
Yeah, all good?
Yeah.
Okay, Scott, you go ahead and get started.
Hey, Brendan, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. I guess I'm just curious what the last, it's been 3-4 months have been like for you, man. Just since you got to campus, trying to, maybe get, acclimated in a rather unusual preseason.
Sure. Yeah, no, obviously, like you said, it's not really, like a normal year would be, coming to campus as a freshman and, kind of getting acclimated with the team, all the guys and school is a big part of that too. But, I've been having, really good time. I think everyone, especially all the guys, been very, welcoming. I felt, with open arms, everyone coming in and, the coaching staff all together and, workouts, obviously, adjusting to that, college, the level, the difference in the level of workouts, compared to high school or AAU that, that I've been doing for the past 4 years. But it's been for how much, you can, again, is a different time. I think, I've made the best of it and I'm having a really good time so far. So.
I guess what was maybe priority number one maybe for you with both Fletch and then also maybe, just in basketball specifically?
Yeah. Obviously for me, I think, putting on weight and strength is, was number one on, right up there for, in terms of priorities coming here. I've already done a pretty good job with it, adding, about 10, 15 pounds, since I've been here and, want to keep, going with that. But, apart from that, and again, kind of just adjusting to, the physicality, just practices, and obviously it's going to, games is a completely different level as well. But, adjusting to that physicality of just, Big Ten basketball in general, I think mentally that was a big part of it for me, just kind of getting going with that was, pretty important because, it's something that, if you can't take care of that, it's a lot of the other stuff is, it's hard when you don't have that confidence and, in practices and games and, playing your hardest. So, that was pretty big on my list too.
Anything specifically from, maybe the mental aspect you were either, making sure you focused on or any challenges you've had to maybe overcome in the last few months?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I was saying, I think the confidence and just the mentality, going into some of these practices is a big difference. Again, obviously, it's such between what I've been doing the past 4 years in high school and then coming here, playing against the best of the best, two of the best bigs in the whole country right now. Learning a lot from them, and I think kind of at the start, it was a little kind of just observing, but now that I've learned, continuing every day to kind of learn from them, using that, and then again, like that confidence is, just in practice, having that mentality that, I can do some of these things and, there's still areas I need to improve, but I think that's, a big part of it.
Okay, go ahead, Joy.
Hey, Brandon, hope you're doing well. You mentioned going up against some of those bigs. Obviously, Kofi's a guy who, looked at the NBA. What is that like for you going up against Kofi every day?
Yeah, it's, like I said, I think just the amount I've learned and, from him and Giorgi alike in the past 3 months is, really tremendous. Obviously, like you said, he's going to end up being, possibly a lottery pick next year. And, being able to go up against someone with that, physical ability, as well as the skill set, obviously for anyone, it's obviously not, going to be an easy challenge at first, but, again, I think I'm learning more every day. And I think, that physicality that, that he brings, after, he's passed on, I think, if I can replicate that, going forward, I think it'll be that much more of an advantage for me, just acting like I'm playing against Kofi every day when, I'm playing against guys who might even be a little bit smaller, a little less skilled, and just having that mentality.
What's the best way for you to learn? Is it by asking questions? Is it by repetition? I mean, for you personally, how do you best consume that knowledge?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not really someone that, that's afraid to ask questions. I think, all through practice, again, just observing, watching what they're doing and kind of just trying to add some of their, skill sets and their mindsets into my own bag and, going out there when I do get, the reps in practice and trying to replicate it. But yeah, I mean, asking questions and again, those two guys and really all the veterans on the team and, even the other freshmen, we're all, helping each other along the way. If I'm, in a drill and, I do something wrong and, I'll come out and, Giorgi or Kofi, or any of the older guys are, pulling me aside, kind of saying, make sure you're doing this or, look for this, going forward next time you get out there and do that drill. So it's been really helpful so far.
My last thing for you is you committed in June, and obviously by the end of July, Iowa and Kofi are back, and this team's, got quite a bit of attention on it. What's it been like for you kind of learning how to keep that intensity every day and what it takes to be a part of a top 10 team in practice and everything that goes into that?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, sure. Like you said, I committed in June with no idea of, whether they were going to, return or not. I just knew this, this was a program that I wanted to be a part of regardless. And obviously, having that kind of talent and experience, back and, like you said, being in a top 10 program is, it's really, I'm just, really just thrilled to be here and having that, being able to have this experience. I'm just so excited for the season. I don't think it's, no matter what happens, I don't think it'll be one that, I ever forget. And like you said, having kind of watching them, two of the best players in the country, go at it every day as hard as they can, that really just kind of motivates me more, seeing if they can do it, then, I really no excuse at that point why I can't do it too.
Thanks a lot, Brandon.
Yep.
Hey, Brandon, you've got, incoming freshmen as well with yourself and Coleman. You've got Adam Miller and Andre. They're kind of guys that get a lot of attention. What is that kind of, I guess, how do you kind of react to that, knowing that, you might be kind of an under the radar guy? Does that kind of give you just a little more excitement to maybe, put in some work and then really just kind of show people what you can do once the season actually starts?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, they've been throughout high school. They were, top prospects and got a lot of attention. But, I think it kind of goes both ways. Like you said, not having that, you have a little more edge to you and, you're not really, like you said, under the radar. So, you're kind of, fighting to prove yourself. But at the same time, I think, it's kind of nice because I can, kind of just focus in and, really worry about myself. And I mean, obviously, any good player is, going to get that kind of attention. But, I think just, being with all three of them, it's, we're all the same, we're 18-year-old kids, just here trying to do our best, working hard every day. So yeah, no, it's been great so far.
When you envision that breakout game that you hopefully eventually have, where does that come? Is it a big rebounding performance? Is it scoring? Is it just kind of defensive prowess? Where does that kind of breakout performance hopefully come for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I'm, 3 months being here, you kind of learn as to, what really is expected of bigs in this league. And if you want to be, a top performer, it's, it really is, it comes down to, defense and rebounding, being a hustle guy that, it's really not all about, filling that, stat sheet with, with points and all that stuff. But, I'm really, again, I'm kind of just, working every day and hoping that, I do get, my chance to, prove myself. But yeah, I mean, I'd say, yeah, defense, rebounding, and then, obviously scoring comes with that. But yeah.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Brandon, I'm curious how you're approaching this NCAA freebie year that you're kind of getting, because technically next year you'll come back listed as a freshman as well. It seems like this is the best of the both worlds prep school option that you had a year ago today. And even if you don't get on the floor, this is maybe the best of both worlds for your development.
Yeah, sure. No, like you said, I mean, obviously redshirt was a big topic, or just, thought process for me, kind of going into this, but then, finding out that, everyone's going to get this, year back anyways. So I'm, it kind of really, it hasn't really changed much on my end. I'm approaching it, the same way, just every day. I know it's a process, putting on, weight strength. That's obviously, going to translate to, on the court. But at the same time, if I can, get, I think a couple, game reps, if we're, it's whatever kind of game, maybe blowout game or something like that. I think that could be, kind of invaluable going forward. Just seeing the level of competition, like I said, adjusting to that. And again, like you said, it's basically a redshirt year anyways, whether you play or not. So, it's really kind of the same, mindset going forward for me.
And on the other hand, I don't know if you're familiar with what's been going on with the football team, but it would seem like because of COVID and because of contact tracing, it would seem like the 11th, 12th, and 13th guy on your team down that bench really has to be ready to play, just simply if you guys get hit with COVID and you get hit with contact tracing.
Right. No, yeah, that's another great point. That again, like, guys could, you end up missing 21 days, if someone tests positive, because, they have the whole, carditis, that whole deal. So it's not, it's definitely not something to, take lightly. And, I'm preparing in that sense too, obviously, physically, I think, every day I'm going to get to that point where I can be, a major key factor on this team. But, at the same time, I kind of got to be ready if my number is called on, if that time comes.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Hey, Brandon, how you doing? Question, I know you talked about strength, being a part of your factor as far as playing college basketball, but can you tell us what part of your game do you think you've improved on? Things that you've noticed that coaches have helped you with to say, hey, you know what, I can do this, or I couldn't do this before I got to Illinois?
Yeah, sure. I think, for me, I think in terms, I mean, I can go, both offensively and defensively. Offensively, I've been, working a lot, on my shot, with a ton, putting a lot of work with, Coach O, and working a lot with Coach Hammer too. And I think, that's been big for me, just a lot of different, shot mechanics, ball handling, because, as it's big. So, being able to stretch the floor is valuable for someone at my size going forward. And then I think the same goes for defensively. Again, that mentality and bringing that physicality and being able to, kind of throw your body in there. Again, putting on weight strength is going to help in both of those areas eventually. But again, having that mentality to, not be scared and, kind of just, be going in with, I'm either way, whether, I'm not as, physically advantaged as them, but, kind of just throwing my body in there, I guess.
Not, asking for any like preseason rankings, but when you look at this team, some of the other guys talked about, what they look like on paper. What's your assessment of the team overall, just from a talent standpoint? Are you impressed? Do you think there's still work to be done, or are you in awe still?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think seeing just like the talent we have, and I've been a fan for a few years now, and kind of watched the program, especially in the last 3 years, just continue to build up. And and right now, we have all the talent, I think, to compete with any team in the country. And then like you said, kind of that awe factor is definitely first kind of surreal to see these guys in practice, but at the same time watching them every day and kind of seeing how we're all coming together. It's got a really good feeling going into the season. I think we can do a lot of damage, but at the same time, there's always, every team has got work to be done, and you got to have that kind of collectiveness if you want to make a good run in any of those areas.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Scott.
Yes, Brandon, do you remember maybe the first time you went up against Kofi in practice? Maybe the first time he posted you up? I mean, just what was that like going up against 7 foot, 285 and strong?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say at this point it's been being here for 3 months. I don't know if I remember that very first one, but I do remember those first 3 practices. Just kind of feeling his physicality and getting used to that. Definitely took a few weeks, even up to a month. But at this point, I think, again, I know my limits and how much I can do. But at the same time, I'm not going to say there's not something I can't do in terms of guarding him. I'm able to use my length and the strength that that I have. you know, it's, again, I think just learning, you know, so much from him in these short few months, and obviously it's going to be, you know, much more, you know, in the next, you know, during the season and throughout you know, the postseason as well. But yeah, no, it's definitely, I'd say, I don't know if I remember the first one exactly, but you know, that progression, I can definitely notice that.
I mean, what do you think about, you know, just maybe the opportunity that you have to challenge yourself literally on a daily basis against, you know, a guy that was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year, and, you know, kind of a preseason All Big Ten type, you know, center.
Yeah, yeah, you know, I mean, you know, like I was kind of saying, I think just learning from him, you know, through this year and being able to carry that over to, you know, my next however many years I have here. You know, I think that's going to be, you know, so valuable for me. Again, you know, challenging, like you said, it's a challenge every single day, and I got to bring, you know, kind of like I was saying earlier, that mentality is such a big part of it, you know, because, you know, if I'm thinking, you know, you know, I'm not, obviously not, you know, physically at that level with him, but if, you know, if that's my thought process every day, then I'm really not going to be improving. But, you know, I think it's been the opposite for me. And, you know, every day I'm kind of learning new things. And, you know, I think he's really kind of taken me and all the other freshmen kind of under his wing, and just, you know, teaching, like, you know, he'll teach me things about how to guard him, because, you know, he's so big and he knows, you know, what, you know, defenders need to be able to do in order to, like, stop someone like him with his skill set.
Thank you.
Okay, Joy.
Brandon, I know, you know, when you were going through the recruiting process, Fletch and the involvement that he would have was, you know, made pretty clear to you in that. But what's it been like in person and working with him? And I'm sure the first few days were probably pretty sore afterwards, but what's that process been like?
Yeah, you know, he's, you know, there's really no doubt, you know, why, you know, you hear people always talking about why he's the best of the best, and, you know, every program wants him because, you know, just his knowledge and you know, his expertise with all of this stuff, you know, in the weight room and nutrition and all of it together is really next level. And yeah, I mean, obviously it took some adjusting, you know, as, you know, same with, you know, actual practice, you know, the lifting part of it was, you know, obviously just as important for me, and kind of, you know, getting my body used to that, you know, every day. And obviously for me, you know, I need, you know, specifically might not need, you know, the same strengthening areas as some other guys on the team might. And, you know, had the way he's, you know, able to, you know, realize that and really, you know, kind of work with me and every day, you know, check in on me. I think I'm really lucky to have him at this point. You know, I really couldn't ask for someone better.
And then you mentioned the awe factor. When did that, I'm assuming at this point, maybe it's gone away a little bit, but you've grown up as a fan, you watched these guys on TV literally last year. When did that kind of settle down and you were just, you know, this is just your, you know, you're a part of this team now?
Right. Yeah, no, I think, you know, like I said, you know, again, that first couple of weeks, you know, just kind of seeing all of us running together, you know, in practice. Obviously, you know, the way we kind of moved into official practice was different than a normal year because of, you know, COVID. We were doing a little more individual workouts. So, you know, I kind of got to see, you know, Kofi, and, you know, we were working a lot together. And then that kind of transitioned, obviously, you know, when Io came back, and, you know, not even, you know, Trent too. And we got a lot of good players. But yeah, you know, I think once about a week or two in, once we, you know, started playing, you know, up and down, and I just see how hard these guys go, and you know, the fact that I'm, you know, as a teammate, I'm, you know, just equal as them, and, you know, we're all working towards the same thing here. And it's not like you're, you know, in an AU game and, you know, you're playing against some 5-star, you know, prospect, and then your team is, you know, getting killed by 30 points. It's not like that at all. It's, you know, we're all kind of on at that same, you know, level, which is really cool.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Brandon, when we talked with Miller and Curbelo, they spoke of playing in particular groups, like they were always on the same team against Trent and Io. Are you finding yourself in the same group of guys on one particular team in scrimmage?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think, you know, that's the really cool thing about it, is that, you know, how much we switch it up. But again, you know, for me, obviously, you know, we do, you know, different, you know, scout-based stuff to try to give, you know, that first, you know, those top 7-8 rotation guys, you know, good looks for, you know, the team, maybe with the team we're playing, or, you know, just giving them different defensive or offensive looks. You know, some, you know, definitely, I wouldn't say, you know, it's kind of that set same five guys. You know, that's what's kind of cool is being able to, you know, play, you know, with these guys as if you were in, you know, a real game with them. And then, you know, switching it up again where we do go against that, you know, that top 5 group. And then it's, you know, that, what they call it, scout team, you know, sort of giving them different looks. But, you know, it really isn't, you know, a kind of a set 5. We kind of, you know, mix it up a lot, which is really cool to see.
And we're going to have Coleman here on the Zoom just after this. So are you playing usually on the same team with Coleman?
Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously, again, it changes up a lot. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think both of us coming in, you know, as freshmen, and same with, you know, at Curbelo, you know, there's times where, you know, coach will put all 4 freshmen on the same team just because, you know, he wants to see how we're going to take it. And, you know, he'll put a senior guy with us and, you know, kind of see how we'll, you know, progress and handle that, you know, challenging us in different ways in practice, which, you know, I think is really been really valuable for us. So.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, is that everything for Brandon? All righty.